The bottom line is, it's Biden versus Trump. We want to live in a world that we want to live in and enjoy living in, or live in a nightmare. Vote for Trump, and you'll get the nightmare. Vote for Biden, and we'll be back to normalcy.
So why is Trump winning? I mean, the New York Times poll this week came out, and maybe this will change it with the State of the Union address, but Trump was beating him rather soundly.
Robert De Niro has always been loud about his hate for Donald Trump, calling him dangerous and unfit for office. But during a recent talk show appearance, everything changed when he was hit with one simple but powerful question. Why is Trump winning? And that moment wasn't just awkward, it exposed something much deeper.
Outright Latinos. What do you attribute that to?
I don't know. I just don't want to feel the way I did, and many of us don't.
By spring 2024, Trump wasn't just catching up, he was leading. A New York Times Siena poll had him at 48%, while Biden trailed at 43%. Polls from CNN and others backed this up. In battleground states like Pennsylvania and Arizona, Trump was ahead by up to 7 points. Even more surprising, more women were backing Trump, up to 41% compared to 36% in 2020. Among Latino voters, he jumped to 46%, while Biden dropped to 38%. These numbers weren't random, they reflected the growing frustration that Hollywood stars like De Niro seemed blind to. Inflation reached a scary 9.1% in 2022, and though it slowed to 3.2% by 2024, people were still paying 25% more for groceries. Gas prices were still around $3.8 in many places. Families were having to choose between bills and food, and yet, De Niro, living in a $20 million penthouse, dismissed Trump supporters as just unhappy. That felt out of touch.
And anybody, I don't understand it. I guess they get behind that kind of logic. They want to fuck with people, screw them, because they're unhappy about something. He's such a mean, nasty, hateful person.
De Niro's refusal to even portray Trump in a film because he saw nothing redeemable in him felt more smug than principled. It also showed how some stars talk at people instead of to them. Writing off millions of voters as dumb doesn't fix anything, it just fuels more division. When De Niro couldn't answer why Trump was gaining ground, it revealed more than just a lack of insight. It showed a bigger problem. Many critics haven't taken the time to really understand why people are turning to Trump. And ignoring that is dangerous. At 81, Biden's mental slips were becoming more obvious. He mixed up names, forgot details, and seemed lost in unscripted moments. An ABC poll from early 2024 showed 86% of Americans believed he was too old to serve again. Instead of addressing concerns, his team hid him from tough questions. In 2024, something strange happened in Delaware. The Biden campaign put together what looked like a regular town hall, but it wasn't. Reporters weren't allowed in, the audience was carefully chosen, and the questions were all planned in advance. Everything was done to make Biden look sharp and strong for campaign ads, but even with all that control, the event didn't go well. Biden couldn't give clear answers, and the footage turned out to be useless. Not because of camera issues, but because he just couldn't get through the responses. It ended up wasting 2 hours of his day and did more harm than good. Meanwhile, Trump was out holding long rallies where he spoke freely, sometimes for hours. The energy difference was clear, and this fake town hall only highlighted how carefully Biden's team had been managing his appearances. This wasn't just one bad event. Reports showed that since 2022, Biden's team had been tightly controlling where and how he appeared in public. They wanted to avoid any setting where he might seem weak or confused. In 2025, a book came out revealing that some of Biden's close advisors knew all the way back in 2023 that he couldn't handle running for president again. Still, they moved forward because the idea of Trump winning again scared them more than the risks of keeping Biden on the ballot.
Do we believe he may be punch drunk? And then he says, at the end, he says, "Wake up, punchy," he says to you. And that's not the only time. And he moved over to Truth Social. Robert De Niro, whose acting talents have greatly diminished, with his reputation now shot.
By the mid of 2024, the pressure inside the Democratic Party was intense. Biden's poll numbers were slipping, and many of his appearances were being mocked online. Party leaders decided to make a switch, but they didn't announce it with much excitement. Kamala Harris, despite her own low approval ratings, was quietly moved into position as the party's lead candidate. A July 2024 poll by YouGov showed her at just 39%, while Biden stood at 41%. Still, they hoped her younger image and fresh start might help close the gap against Trump, but it wasn't smooth sailing. Harris had struggled in her earlier campaign and had dropped out after polling at only 3%. Many voters remembered that. As all this was happening, public figures stayed focused on attacking Trump, ignoring the problems within their own party. One actor in particular spoke harshly about Trump, calling him all kinds of extreme names. But while the warnings were loud, most Americans weren't buying it. They were more concerned about the rising costs and safety at the border than Hollywood speeches.
Musk even used a teleprompter for his foul and disgusting language, so disrespectful to our country. Now, in all fairness to the former president, is that true? Do you have to use a teleprompter when speaking about President Trump?
By October 2024, Trump had gained more support. In several key swing states, he was leading by 6 points according to Real Clear Politics. Harris's campaign didn't catch fire, her speeches weren't connecting with voters, and the message was unclear. By May 2025, Trump was back in the White House. The warnings about what he might do didn't come true. There were no mass arrests, no government crackdowns. In fact, he even invited someone known to be critical of him to the White House, something that hadn't happened under previous Democratic presidents. It surprised a lot of people and made many rethink how they viewed him. Trump's second term wasn't just about headlines, he rolled out some big moves. He worked on a $1.2 trillion infrastructure deal to improve roads, bridges, and internet access. That number came from a 2025 Congressional Budget Office report. He also cut federal regulations by 15%, which helped small businesses feel more confident.
Look in the mirror, okay? You know, I mean, for months, Democrats have been saying, how is this even close?
According to the Office of Management and Budget, this created a strong boost for entrepreneurs and local economies. These weren't the actions of someone looking to tear things down. They were focused steps that had a real effect on people's lives. What upset many Americans wasn't just the political arguments, it was the feeling that some celebrities looked down on them. One actor even said that Trump supporters were gullible, like followers of old TV preachers. But that ignored the fact that many Trump voters were doctors, teachers, small business owners, and working parents. So what are your views on this? Do let us know in the comment section below, and for more such amazing videos, do subscribe to our channel.